I'm Isyander.
And I'm Coda.
And I'm exhausted. But today we're going to talk about the big bad of 40k, the War Master of Chaos.
The newest kid on the block. The newest big bad.
No, actually, just real quick, not new.
Not new?
Pre-Heresy. He's been kicking for a
Well, he's been kicking for a while, but he's been the big bad.
We will get.
Or has he always been big bad?
No, not always. Not always. He has some of the most fun names ever, such as the War Master of Chaos, the Archfiend, the Despoiler of Worlds. He's got some good titles going on for him. It's the one, the only person. Listen, listen. These polls are usually pretty close. I don't know how they're gonna go genuinely, so I have to kind of script in a weird way. I knew who was gonna win this one. It's the 13th poll.
Of course,
he had to. This was all part of his plan. He
lost the first 12, so he must win on the last.
And he's the reason the Dark Eldar are just going to stay there, because this is all part of his masterful plan.
That's a damn shame.
Yep, and so that does bring us to the poll. You have three options left. You have the Dark Eldar, Tau Crisis suits, and the High Lords of Terra. Those are your three options. Two of them will escape the losers poll. The last one will stay there.
Is it really the High Lords of Terra this time?
It is. They wouldn't hide behind the same thing twice. Let me just tell you that. Here's the thing. I've realized I've written myself into a catch-22. If I say they're not hiding there, they could be hiding there. If I say that they are hiding there, then they're not hiding. There's just no way. There's just no way. You'll just find out by voting. Let me tell you right now, though. Do you really think they'd hide under the same rock twice?
The Alpha Legion video is going to come out of nowhere, and it's going to be incomprehensible, and everybody watching it is going to go, did we get a real episode
maybe
this week?
Who knows?
Or is this a joke?
We shall see. As always, sound off in the comments. You know how this operates. We'll see who gets stuck in the losers bracket for the longest. I have my theories, but we will find out.
The losers bracket.
Yeah, they just keep fighting for their lives forever. There's also a Patreon where you can get twice as many episodes of what you already love, as well as accessing a year's worth of content. I'm talking over 50 episodes that have never seen the light of day and are fantastic, all by heading over to on patreon.com/Isyander and Coda, where you can help support the show, get access to the Discord, monthly live streams, and a bunch of other awesome perks, all while helping us keep all these various lights on, of which there are so many, and they're just always increasing. For those of you already there, thank you very much. For those of you doing it as I speak, thank you as well. Now let's get into the big bad of 40k.
The largest bad.
Yes.
Well, probably not physically largest, but
Yep.
There are some big bads.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily big bads, but they're large.
Yeah, every faction kind of waxes and wanes in its significance. 40k kind of has this like revolving door of these guys are the problem this time, and these guys are the problem these times, right? And in 40k, kind of everyone could be read as a villain in some way, depending on how you read it. Anyone could be the big bad for the current setting, but it's real obvious who the big bad is when it comes to Abaddon. I mean, the guy's got 13 Black Crusades. He wants to unite all of Chaos under one banner. He is the War Master, period, and the guy who broke Cadia clean in half. Well,
just snapped it. Just broke it over his name.
Shattered, it's a more accurate word. Half isn't accurate. If anyone, when we get to 40k's end times, it's either going to be him who causes it, or some complete random new person. Those are the two options available.
Or maybe both.
Possibly.
Who knows?
Possibly both. To properly cover him, I'm going to have to reorganize a little bit, just because there's an elephant in the room that we have to address in the beginning.
I have not seen this elephant. It must be painted purple.
Oh, no, you will have seen it. Oh, no, you will have seen it, because typically I like to do like the drawbacks to the character or the faction at the very end, but with Abaddon, we kind of had to cover them in the beginning, because GW has a way they want you to feel about Downton Abbey, and people don't feel that way exactly.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Like
no, I've seen this elephant.
Right. There's plenty of there's so many hateable people in 40k. There's 101 very, 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 very despicable. Just Erebus. Think about all the comments. You don't even know who Erebus is.
I just know he's awful.
But you know it from the comments.
Yeah.
You will see it under this video. Just thousands of people all saying screw Erebus. Rightfully so, by the way.
But not with that word.
Yeah, sure. And he's a great example of just a person held in nothing but contempt.
He's not just a villain. He's just, I hate that guy. I hate that guy. I want him to die. Kill him now.
And it's because he's written pretty well, right? And there are fun villains. There's more comedic, lighthearted characters in 40k, you know? Like any Necron we've covered, pretty much. They're terrifying. But
they're also so charming.
And it really humanizes them in a way like not many forces of chaos get. I'll be honest, because chaos takes itself real seriously, and the Necrons aren't afraid to laugh at themselves almost at times.
We need like a sitcom style show featuring all of the chaos gods and their various
Actually, you know what? The chaos gods don't suffer from this. They have a ton of personality. They're petty. They're spiteful. It's more their followers that tend to suffer from this.
I see.
Less than they do. The best way to explain where Abaddon lands in this hateable to comedic spectrum is Batman has some of the best villains imaginable. It's the Rogues Gallery. It's legendary. You could throw any one of them into a movie and they'd be compelling. I mean, for God's sake, Mr. Freeze is compelling.
But then there's also like Calendar Man.
He's still compelling too. Like the Rogues, like for example, if Batman died tomorrow and the Joker or Two-Face did it, you'd be like, wow, I either really dislike that character and kind of wish they hadn't done that, or yeah, they definitely could have done that. You know?
That's something
that's an appropriate force to do that, you know?
I think Joker would be slightly less likely to do that just because he seems to like the competition, but that's getting in the weeds.
Yeah, exactly. Moral of the story, it's a villain, you believe it's a villain, and you can hate them or not, but you know that the story could have gone this way, right? And then there are the other ones like Condiment King and Calendar Man, who if they killed Batman tomorrow, I'm invested. I fully believe it. I'm here for it. How did they do it? That's how the fun of this story shakes out. It's the equivalent of Trajan steals a golden throne tomorrow.
How did he do it?
Okay, how did he do it?
I mean,
that's all aboard for
is
this.
His modus operandi, but
yeah, this is silly.
How did he do it?
This is silly. This is stupid. Go on. You know? Abaddon is if tomorrow we just kind of looked at the whole Rogues Gallery and said, nope. DC instead introduces this new character called Death Demon, who looks like a metal album cover and proceeds to kill Batman outright very hard while looking at the camera and saying Superman is next.
So this is comics in 2013.
Yeah, it's really unsatisfying, and nobody really has any feelings on Death Demon in this situation
because he just came out of nowhere and he killed Batman and didn't elaborate.
And this is the problem people have with Abaddon. People hate Erebus with a passion, but Abaddon, every comment you'll see are weak arms, poor track record. With that, I've eliminated half of the comments in this video. His arms being made of balsa wood, and him not being able to accomplish anything unless he tries 12 separate times.
To be fair, I can relate sometimes.
You can relate. The problem is you don't have a hype guy shouting behind you, "This is the next Horus!"
Aye, fair enough.
Horus, inventor of the Heresy. This is supposed to be his following act. This is the bigger and better sequel. And it took 12 tries.
Yup.
You see the immediate problem, right?
Yeah.
This is the problem that G-Dub is dealing with here. And if they have tried to fix it by giving him deeds, you know, like having him rip the galaxy in half and shatter Arcadia in the process. But everyone hates it.
Because it feels unearned.
Precisely.
Where did this come from? What you failed 12 times, and all of a sudden on the 13th you hit it like hole in one, and what? Yep. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
Where was this energy the last 12 times?
Yep. It feels like kind of pulling the wool over our eyes, but it's just because at the surface he reads a hair bland. When you do a little bit more diving into him, you discover it's actually fairly compelling. And part of why he has a long record of failing, let's say, is because his job is impossible.
How impossible? Are we talking Sisyphean? Like full Sisyphean? He's pushing boulder uphill and...
His job is to unite chaos.
Oh, boulder.
And do you know what? This says it all, by the way. Do you know what his faction is called?
What?
It's Chaos Undivided.
Boulder.
Yep.
Boulder.
Yep. Whereas Khorne has his personality, you know who that is. You know, Slaanesh has their own thing going on. Chaos Undivided just feels like big bads who are barely holding it together. I mean, just barely holding it together.
Chaos is divided. That's a kind of, it's in the name.
And then you take that with the fact that up until not fairly recently, but because GW's always had great artists. That's one department they pay handsomely,
and it shows.
A lot of Chaos Undivided just kind of felt like I said, like a metal album cover. You know, it didn't have like you look at Slaanesh stuff, you're like, whoa!
I get your aesthetic immediately.
I know exactly what you're about. I'm gonna have to use every black bar I have available. This is crazy.
Only right? On one side of them.
No, it depends on the model. That's what
it does depend on the model. Right? Sometimes the model has like one bazonger going on, and then the other side is no bazonger.
Moral of the story: they're the only faction.
And sometimes it's like 12 of them.
Moral of the story: they're the only faction with the black bars that would move around. Khorne has his aesthetic, right? You know what, and God, is it a good aesthetic? You know, and this is what I mean. Every single one is kind of committed to a bit, and you know exactly what they are. Chaos Undivided has yet to acquire that, in my opinion.
It seems. I see what you mean. I've seen their art, and it does look very...
It's just generic evil.
It looks like we needed bad Space Marines. Let's make the Space Marines look mean. Mm-hmm. Grrr. And then they put a bunch of angles on them and said, that means Engi.
Yeah, pretty much. But like I said, there's actually quite a bit of good stuff in here, and it's been getting better. So hopefully we can have their art style revisited, maybe like tweaked a little bit. So they because how you present visually does a lot for your personality. You know, like you see a lot of the art of the Necrons, for example. You can gather a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah, the one specific piece of art that I love that shows off one specific Necron's personality is the art of Trazyn lounging, man-spreading in his chair. Because it's so him. He would just be sitting there lounging.
Oh yeah, no, I love it. And so I hope they get that. But we have to go way back in the beginning before he was just evil. He got vile. Yeah. He got his start. There were always a couple of red flags. I'm not going to lie to you and say Abaddon was good from the beginning. There were a couple. He started off with patricide. That was his first move.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow.
But his dad kind of deserved it. He grew up on a really, really rough Hive world that was run almost entirely by gangs, and they have, fun fact, they have a distinct accent to them that Horus put on to be more relatable. This is just something fun. I love so much. Like they have this is a noted thing. They have a very distinctive. It's like an Australian out in the wild level of just that's different. And Horus just faked it to be more relatable.
So he doesn't. Horus pulled a Drake.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Horus was speaking patois. Let's go with that.
Patany Twatano here.
God, you make it so hard sometimes. Abaddon's dad was not great. He was a huge gang leader. He was a huge warlord on that home world. And he ordered his son to go do this weird coming-of-age ritual that involves murdering all your best friends. As we do when we turn 18, obviously.
Yeah, I remember when I turned 18, and I just killed everyone I knew and loved.
It was kind of rough starting over.
It was a little bit rough, but I got my footing again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Abaddon didn't go through it. He instead said he doesn't like kings and people who are in positions of power, kind of like I don't like tyrants kind of a situation, and killed him. Which resulted in a very swift banishment. But, I mean, his dad still had a reputation, and his son did him in, so he kind of inherited the reputation, you know?
I see. This is like One Piece, when you beat another pirate and then you acquire their bounty.
Yes, kind of like that. And it was big enough for Horus to get the attention of Horus and for him to go, welcome to the Space Marine program. Welcome.
Just like One Piece, he made him a warlord of this space.
You are pandering to one human being.
I am pandering to exactly one human being in the audience.
There are a couple thousand more who watch it other than that one human being, all right? After that, he very quickly rose to become a cat. We've done the song and dance for all these characters before. Shoot through the ranks and become very, very important, because that's what they do.
He is the Space Marine of this legion.
Yeah. And the main thing that set him aside from his other compatriots is the fact that he was just a menace in combat. He was unstoppable. There's a time he was found as a sole survivor of an orc assault, and he was almost buried in a mountain of them.
A mountain of them, you say?
Yes. He's very effective and, keynote, very loyal to Horus. More so than he was to his dad, kind of.
Really?
Yeah. And Horus was very likable at this time, recognizes loyalty, and rewards it. And so he is added into this thing called the Mournival, which is his council of 4 who help him decide topics. And help. It's kind of like his group of advisors is what the Mournival are. Horus knows how to manipulate situations. The Mournival were kind of more for show than anything else.
They were his yes men, is what you're saying.
No.
Oh, okay.
They genuinely debated the topic. Horus just already knew the answer.
I see.
And this is
he was you putting the Dark Eldar in a poll.
I didn't. Anyway, their whole job was just to debate, make a whole show. It was to make Horus look like less of a tyrant, effectively. Because if Horus comes out and says, we're doing this, everyone goes, all right, you're ordering us around. But if it looks like there's a council of Space Marines advising him, and they debated this for 30 days and 30 nights, and then they said, we're doing this, it seems more justifiable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was still a huge honor, and one that was taken very, very, very seriously. Among the members of the Mournival, they really, really come across like familial siblings. More so than like, the usual, brother, pass me the flamer,
The heavy flamer.
All Space Marines, at least within their own chapters and legions, have a deep sense of camaraderie about them. It's kind of like the camaraderie you see in real life. In real life militaries.
It's like a found family. Like,
we are unrelated, but I could die next to you, and that makes us very close suddenly.
It's a very big sense of we're all in this together.
Exactly. And so these guys they had that, but they were also closer to like actual brothers in the way they acted and were there for each other. Even like a piece of art of all 4 of them.
That looks like I would see that on Horus's like countertop.
Yeah.
Like framed photo on his countertop.
Yep. Do you want to guess who's who? I'm just going to hide the answer.
I've seen Abaddon before. He's that guy on the left with the big top knot.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're never going to get the other ones. I'm just going to get ahead of you.
Yeah,
the one in the middle is Little Horus.
Little Horus?
Look at him.
He does look like Little Horus.
Little Horus, yeah. There's a couple of sons of Horus who wound up looking a lot like Horus. We're not going to touch on that.
Was he trying to make like Handsome Jack style body doubles?
I said the Horus, the Heresy video is going to have to be like 12 hours long?
Yeah.
A good chunk of it is just because Horus was up to a lot of stuff. Okay?
So he actually was making Handsome Jack style body doubles.
No. It's just there's just so much to Horus. We'll get to Horus later for a little bit because we have to, but there's so much to him that I'm just not going to bother for this episode. But Little Horus, look at him.
Little Horus.
Look at him. And then you have Gavriel, he's loved by everyone. Loken is loved by everyone, and he should be his own episode. He's fantastic.
Gavriel.
Oh, he's great. I quite like him. However, like I said, there are some red flags with Abaddon. His being that, unlike every member of the Mournival kind of brought something different to the table, he brought aggression. He brought aggression, and he chafed a little with Horus's talk-first approach at times. Because Horus could genuinely work out some deals. I can't stress this enough. He was really charismatic. He was really... I think of all of the children, he got quite a bit of the Emperor's likability. Or at least his ability to appear likable. The Emperor's another...
He was charismatic. He read the art of the deal.
Sure. Yeah, that's precisely right. And so much so that he was one of the few to like actually negotiate a functional deal with aliens during the Great Crusade.
The Eldar or the Tau?
Completely irrelevant ones is my answer.
Never mind. Never mind.
Yeah. And he also was one of the ones, he's always fairly pessimistic. So when the Emperor retired, effectively, from the Great Crusade, he took the approach of the Emperor has abandoned us.
Horus did?
No. Abaddon did.
Oh.
Horus got a promotion. He was okay with it.
Oh, he was happy. He was excited.
Yeah.
I'm the new that guy.
Yeah.
I run this now.
Well, 5 minutes into that, he's wounded very, 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 very aggressively.
Well, that kind of dampers his fun there, I guess.
Yeah, and it's at this point where a lot of stuff happens. He was already kind of doubting the Emperor because, again, the Emperor puts on a likable mask. And it's a mask that slips occasionally, and it's slipped enough for pretty much every Primarch at some point or another to go,
what's going on here?
What are you up to? Like, is that even the appropriate word for you, or is...
The Emperor is more entity than man, is what I'm gathering.
Nowadays. Back in the day, he was real good about keeping it wrapped up.
Well, I mean...
real good about keeping it wrapped up. Cue every single panel with the Emperor flaming sword halo above his head.
Yeah, like I said, more entity than man.
Yeah, and the doubts in this entity would only grow stronger after Erebus kind of put a plan into motion to severely wound Horus with some ancient weapon and put the Sons of Horus in this interesting predicament where Horus dies properly, thoroughly, completely. Or you let me take him to this very, very not sketchy shack in a bayou that definitely does not have the faint, dusty outline of a sign that used to say First Church of Chaos.
Don't like that.
Yep.
I simply do not like that.
Obviously, Horus isn't around. The Mournival has to make the decision, and they are evenly split down the middle, with two going, I guess we gotta let Dad die, and the other two going, let's send him.
Gotta take our chances with the weird Bayou guy now, don't we?
Yeah, and it winds up with an even split down the middle, with Downton Abbey and Little Horus being on one side of the thing, and the other two members of the Mournival being on the other side of it. Long story short, the side that was pro healing Horus won out, and they took him into that sketchy shack, and now Horus is back.
But bald now.
Just like 50% chaos. If you can't tell, this is the beginning of the Heresy, and the Mournival would never be the same after this.
I would assume so.
They saw this as betrayal of the highest order. Gavriel saw this as, you have just straight up abandoned the Imperial truth. You are using witchery to heal Horus, and I cannot in good conscience work with you.
I'm going to go home now, and I'm going to tell everybody about this.
Kind of, yeah. And then the other two were obviously miffed because you wanted Dad to die? That was a better option? And it's one of those things where in the moment, it's impossible to see who's correct. Because, I mean, it's not like Horus came out with a sign that now says, now with more chaos. He just came back.
Mm-hmm. Maybe saying some weird things. He was talking in hushed whispers, like if you weren't looking at him, kind of sauntering off to a corner and...
Well, he was straight up Pet Cemetery, effectively.
I mean, yeah.
That's exactly what happened to him. After this, Abaddon really just goes and becomes his second in command, with the other two members who didn't want to do this to him. One winds up getting killed on Isstvan 3, while the other barely escapes, and little Horus is off in a corner just racked with guilt over what he's done.
Ah.
It's full bore, oh God, I made the wrong choice, maybe, possibly.
Whoops.
Yeah, he's not very useful in this moment. But Abaddon is all for it.
He was feeling regretful about that, and he wasn't, put away on Isstvan 3?
It's like he's having nervous breakdowns about the decision he's made. He's not saying the decision is wrong.
Mm.
He's just really unstable about it.
I see.
He's really, really not...
He's having a, did I actually make the right decision?
Yeah. Okay. It's not enough to put him down over it, but it's just enough for him to be not very useful for most of this.
Yeah.
But Abaddon is not like that at all. He's instantly on board. He's full
all
board.
for this.
And at this point, it's very obvious that they're doing the wrong things. Like, they start murdering people who try and record what exactly happened in that shack. He immediately murders, like, all of them. There's this moment where Horus is, I think... Oh, we have to stitch a couple of episodes together here for this. Remember that spear? The two matching spears. One that shows... Basically, the Emperor made two matching spears. The Emperor made tons and tons of weapons.
The one
all over the place.
The one that
Valdor has one.
Yeah.
Russ has one.
Yeah.
Neither one of
was
them's
it Russ
relevant.
that had the other one?
One of them's relevant for this episode. The other one's completely not. So I won't even
Which
bother.
one?
I'm not.
The one that slurps the memories, or the one that puts memories in?
Both spears are relevant. Not both of their wielders are relevant. That's what I mean. One spear, you stab someone, and you get all of their memories and their being put into your head suddenly. It's very traumatic. The other one shows them the truth. Like, one gives you their truth, the other shows them the truth, you know? And Horus gets stabbed by the one that Leman Russ has, the one that shows truths, and he sees everything that he's done. Like, this is after multiple atrocities. This is well into the heresy.
He's exterminatus to a couple planets.
And he's taken aback by it, and I love Abaddon's response, which is just, ugh. Yuck.
What do you mean?
Because Abaddon's about this. Abaddon's committed. And seeing his dad just like
have some doubts about what he's doing.
Yeah, second guess himself gives Abaddon like a little bit of a... But then the thing I love the most about this is Horus comes to the same conclusion. Like, yeah, I've done something wrong, but the Emperor is definitely a tyrant. I love how murky 40k gets about the Emperor. It's so much fun because that spear de facto shows you the truth, right? And it's the fact that it shows him the truth of the horrors that he has done. Mm-hmm. And we'll get into this more in the Horus episode, obviously.
I'd imagine he commits a couple atrocities.
He sees precisely what he's done. He's not masked by chaos in this moment, but still comes to the same conclusion of he's a despot, which means there's some truth to that.
At least a little bit.
On the other spear's end, Valdor, who slaughters thousands of people in the Emperor's name, only ever hears one consistent thing ringing in his head as he kills them, which is tyrant. And I love how murky that is, where you have objectively villain of the millennium kind of making a cogent point, and then immediately handing the controller back to Chaos, who proceeds to fight over him. At this point, it's described as him swelling with power.
Swelling?
Yes.
Can we use a different...
That's the direct quote. Sorry.
Can I ask for an editorial change, please?
You can write them a letter. Maybe GW will listen.
Please, can we use a different word? That one just makes me uncomfortable.
It is what it is. He's a full bore. Like, this is the point in every episode when I mention the Heresy where he's kind of not really Horus anymore.
He's not all there.
It's this thing that the Chaos Gods are fighting to puppet at any given moment.
It's 4 or 5 people fighting over the controller.
Yeah. But the thing that drove Horus there is kind of a sense of a lot of things. Horus has a very compelling fall because it plays on a lot of his insecurities as a human. You know, it's hard to call someone who's over 10 feet tall human, but 2 hearts too.
They're human-ish.
Yeah, but he still has human feelings and emotions, and he's the Emperor's favorite son. A man who has seen that 2, not 1, but 2 of my brothers can vanish. disappear, be killed, and I can't even mention their names, or I'll be choked out by a regular guy.
Yeah, he could have just like stopped me right then and there.
I could have died, genuinely. And then he discovers the whole Thunder Warrior thing happened, and he's like, so the Emperor already had... Oh, no.
We're for sure expendable.
Oh, no. And so there's a lot of insecurity. There's a lot of self-doubt. There's this feeling of him being replaced, no longer being the favorite son, because it had become a key part of his personality. He knew the Emperor for quite a while. And so it's very easy to see how chaos tugs at those strings and warps how you see things so that you get to their conclusion. Abaddon is not that complicated. He is a lot more straightforward in a very coordinate way. I quite like it. He's very might makes right.
I want to get them, and I want to get them hard.
Yes, and also...
Don't take that out of context.
Oh, God. And also, it's very much... It's kind of the stuff that causes real world coups, where you have... I am a member of the military. I did all the fighting. I did all the dying. I buried all my brothers. And then these bureaucrats are in the back making the decisions. They bought 3 yachts off of my blood. Sharpen the guillotines.
I'm going to blood them now.
Yeah, no, it's that specific kind of like we the common man, shouts the Space Marine.
We the common Space Marine.
we the common man have been downtrodden while the elites just sit back there doing nothing and getting fat, and we're supposed to take orders from them.
He stages as
we are supposed to. I have a 3rd lung. I have 2 hearts, and I can die. For sure I'm not taking orders from him. And I quite like that simplicity. It's refreshing.
A Space Marine. The People's Republic of Space Marines.
He's kind of like
establishes a revolution.
And as with anyone who's even vaguely familiar with history, these kinds of ideas, oh boy, they get funky fast. And Abaddon is no exception to it. It's really funny when you consider it, because his very simple might makes right philosophy is kind of the same stuff the orcs work off of. He just makes it, because to an orc they will always shout, I am bigger, why small man command me? But we will couch it in this fantastic way of like, that man is tiny and getting fat off of my labor.
I'd imagine in the weird Cockney accent you'd have like one orc saying something along the lines of, I am mighty, so why is he righty? I should be righty.
Orc philosopher. You'd be a great orc philosopher. You'd be up there with Orchimedes, man. you really would be. It's this difference in what fuels them that kind of leads to Abaddon.
Diogenes.
I was trying to think of one. Up top, you beat me to it. That's fantastic. It's this difference in motivation. Diogenes is so good. Sorry, I have to give you credit. That's a good one. It's this difference that leads to them kind of, well, not splitting, but Abaddon beginning to have a real bad taste in his mouth about his dad. Because this, again, Horus is a bunch of insecurities being fueled perpetually. Whereas Abaddon is about this.
He's ready and raring to go.
Yes.
He's extremely gung-ho about this whole Horus heresy thing.
He can see Horus getting puppeted, right? And he can see that he's not really the master of chaos here, whereas Abaddon is, at least in his own mind, still clear and cogent. And so it's this really weird situation where you get to see your father figure spiraling down into this like pit of... It's like watching alcoholism effectively take place. It's
a very real image you just selected there.
Horus was likable. That when you read any of the Horus Heresy books, once you get towards the end, there's one common thing you'll hear from almost everyone, and that is like there are a few moments where the real Horus will shine through, and everyone's like, oh, thank God, it's still there, and then it immediately leaves. It's there's still the shard of that man I deeply cared for, that man who was there for me, and now he's gone. It genuinely feels like a tragedy in this case. And so yes, I choose alcoholism specifically because it's kind of what it feels like. It's a very, very abusive relationship this man has with chaos. It's kind of the same stuff that causes, like you know, the way whenever kids witness that kind of stuff, they usually swear off drink forever. Abaddon kind of does that, but for chaos, where he swears, I will never
dip my toe into chaos ever.
Very compelling stuff. He watched it ruin his dad, and he's like, nope, I will accomplish what I set out to accomplish without their help. This is a real sticking note in the fandom, by the way. This is a real sticking note in the fandom. But in theory, on paper, he doesn't do it with Chaos's help. What? It's just debated hotly. There's pages and pages of this.
Whether or not he actually uses Chaos for help or not.
Well, we'll get to that towards the end.
Yeah.
As the heresy kept going and Horus kept deteriorating, more and more fell on Abaddon to do. And so he really, really came through and shone. He's the guy who took the moon and managed to keep all the labs there mostly intact, which is a really big deal.
Impressive, because he's mostly the war guy. I assume his initial plan was bomb it before he realized we can use the stuff there.
Yeah, exactly. And the whole time that Abaddon is kind of growing in power and general prestige, there's another guy who's right there by Horus's side, known as a Dark Apostle, who's just kind of the problem here.
What do you mean kind of the problem here?
Because he does save Abaddon's life at one point, right? But he's also kind of the guy corrupting Horus at a very, very rapid rate.
Oh.
And so Abaddon really wants to off him, but can never, ever do it because his Horus is right-hand man as well. And it's this guy who tells him that Horus isn't just deteriorating, he is dying. Like, as the Chaos Gods are just feeding him with more and more power, this is just not a suitable vessel. It's going to burn out. And with it, he will go away.
Just so much that, like, the body can take. And sure, yeah, you're so heavily augmented, you've gone even further beyond a normal person, but you're still person.
And at this point, all of this begins to really wear on him and start wounding his psyche in very interesting ways. There's still noble qualities. I mean, the guy goes in Saving Private Ryan style for Khorne, which you can guess where Khorne was, man.
On top of pile of bodies, I assume.
Yep, and everyone was telling him, this is a bad idea. You shouldn't do this. This is a very bad idea. And he still went ahead and did it.
So why not?
Yeah.
I need to go get my buddy Khorne, dude.
Yeah, exactly. He several times he's warned by pretty much everyone, including this one moment where he's gonna walk into a trap, and Perturba's just like, I know, Dorn, you're gonna die. Don't do this. And he does it anyway, and does genuinely heroic things, just on the wrong side of the heresy going on, right? But while all these heroic things are happening, he's also slowly wearing down. He's getting more and more disgusted, not just by Horus, but by everyone on this team. Because at this point, there are demons walking around on the ship. There are people who are mutated beyond any form of recognition. The Emperor's children have a room somewhere, and he just has to walk. I imagine it's like having the Emperor's children, and you have like thin walls, effectively.
You hear directly into the dungeon.
Yeah. and if that's not bad enough, when he wakes up and goes to try and give orders, basically nobody is listening to him. And so it's why when the heresy is really entering its final act, he's like, all right, screw it, we're just going to go aboard the ship and help Horus. You can at least follow that order, right?
Right, please. Please.
Yeah. And he gets aboard the ship and is immediately attacked by word bearers who are supposed to be helping him, but are frenzied right now for some reason, and so he has to deal with that. The moment he finishes dealing with that, some custodians arrive. Rogel Dorn has to be dealt with. Valdor himself, who he actually does manage to wound. Fun fact.
Impressive.
And the whole time, this ship is being taken by warp madness, melding and twisting. This is not an easy fight for him to get through.
I would imagine. Literally everything is falling apart around him.
Yeah. And fun fact, this is where he gets his nickname, because Valdor stabs him with the spear that shows him the truth of a person, and he sees what the next 10,000 years are going to look like, and he just immediately christens him the Despoiler right then and there, and then decks him with a punch. He's just completely and utterly disgusted by Abaddon, and it genuinely, Abaddon is a straw that breaks that camel's back.
Really?
Yes, because after this, it said that Valdor started treating every Space Marine with a little bit of contempt and just a little bit of. I should have said something against your creation.
You all were a mistake.
Yeah.
Look what you did.
Yeah, look what you did to Dad. Look what you did to Dad. But at the end, that doesn't matter to Abaddon because he's never going to deal with that. As far as he's concerned, I am now no longer assistant to the regional Despoiler. I am the Despoiler. This is fantastic for me, which quickly gets tempered when he makes it to Horus. And this is after he has been belt-sanded psychically by the Emperor.
His soul has been rent.
He's so dead. He's so genuinely. Well, he used to be so dead that you may as well rip out every page of the book afterwards. He was that dead. You like completely and utterly finished. There's no two ways about it.
It's over.
However,
what are you going to say after this word? However,
new books have come out and they've tweaked how it went. Just a little bit. I told you this happens constantly.
So his soul maybe was only mostly rent. There's like 10% that was not shattered.
It's been changed from the psychic belt. Okay, well, he's still getting the psychic belt sanding from the Emperor. That's always going to happen. But there's instead. It has him bathing in the flames of his father's wrath as Chaos just, whoa, I'm just going to leave that. That's a lot. I'm not getting involved. And for a few seconds, Horus is clear-minded, being burned away by his father. And he looks right at him, and his facial expression is described as, please just kill me. Please just kill me. He knows he's no longer being puppeted in this exact moment, but they will come back and I won't be able to stop them. It's the direct quote is end it now if you can, if it's even possible. Because if you can't do it, no one can.
He has like a full lucid moment, realizes, oh no, what have I done? Oh, I've not been at the controller this whole time. Well, I guess we gotta smash the console then.
Yep, and the Emperor stops the psychic beam right then and there and pulls out a small stone dagger that doesn't look like it's enough to cut through toast, frankly. Let alone Horus, the War Master, who's wearing just
the biggest armor.
Yeah, but in a swift blow, the Emperor slides it directly through the armor into Horus's heart. And as he does this, it's so well written, man. As he does this, the dagger is ignited by the full force of the Emperor's will, which is described as being brighter than all of creation. And as that just burns Horus away in totality, you can see him genuinely smiling. And it's described as smiling like he used to.
He realizes, oh, it's over now.
Yeah,
this is done. This is dealt with.
And as he's burning away, it's the only thing that's left is this rictus grin of teeth on a mask of bone. It's so good. It's so good. And as the room darkens and all the magic kind of fades, all that's left for everyone to see is a man killing his son with a stone.
Not exactly a good look.
It shows the tragedy of the heresy. Dan Abnett cannot miss. I have never read a book of his I didn't like. Like, I usually am not a fan of changes, but man, oh man, they put the right guy on it. Because I like Horus getting utterly obliterated. I can also accept having this moment of just filicide, because that's what it is. At the end of the day, this is just good old-fashioned father killing son. Something that should never happen.
No.
Under any circumstances. And I love the fact that moment is allowed to sit there and everyone can just look at it and go,
what just happened?
Yeah.
Why did that just happen?
Yes.
Don't like that.
And And if you don't like good writing, it also canonizes the Emperor and Horus playing a game of Bakugan with all of humanity at stake. So,
Bakugan?
Yu-Gi-Oh! Whatever card game you prefer.
Bakugan isn't a card game.
There are cards that counts. There are cards that counts.
No,
there are cards that count.
You play with the little like transforming balls that you roll out, and then they go.
What do they roll onto?
Then they turn into like a big dragon.
What do they roll onto?
Magnetic pads.
What is printed on those pads? What format?
The logo for the game.
What format do they come in? Do you buy these pads in a deck?
No. I bought mine in a kit.
Well, that's lame. This way you always lost at the game anyway. But yeah, it's...
Shut up.
Do you also see why the Horus video is going to be kind of a pain?
What?
Do you also see why the Horus video is going to be kind of a pain?
Oh yeah, because we're going to do like 24 hours of Horus Heresy.
Yeah.
The 24 hours of Heresy.
Stop adding length to this video. You don't know the damage you've just done with that one sentence. That's the state.
It was a reference to a certain race that is happening right now.
No, that's a reference to a certain race that will happen.
No.
Hasn't started yet.
No. I thought it was...
No, it hasn't started yet. It's this weekend. It hasn't started yet. Might watch it, might not. We'll see. Anyway, that's the scene that Abaddon walks in on and sees. And it's also the last time you see any redeeming qualities out of Abaddon, because one of the few members of the Mournival left, Gavriel Loken, is there in that room, kneeling beside Horus's body, and they have this really somber moment in front of the... I hesitate to say corpse. There's not much left of their father.
Dust.
Yeah.
Skeleton, maybe.
Yeah. And Gavriel just tells him like, "Hey, you can surrender, I suppose." And Abaddon genuinely just admits, "I'm sick of all the bloodshed that's already happened. I'm not going to do this.
Get us home or something."
No, I'm just going to leave. I'm just going to leave. And it's genuinely like touching, because in that moment he could have just killed him right down there. But he didn't.
He said, "I'm done. I'm going home now.
Mm-hmm.
This is over. It's done."
And then Erebus runs in and stabs Gavriel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Erebus is the worst.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. And the only reason he isn't killed about this is he goes on saying this is necessary to create a demon, maybe possibly by...
So Abaddon doesn't even get to off him then?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
He runs off too quickly?
Yep.
Is Erebus around still? Or has he since been... Okay.
Yeah. Is Erebus around? Will he come up later? I don't know.
Okay.
And by the way, this is all pre-13 Black Crusades.
Yeah.
Before all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now is when we get to the Saturday morning cartoon villainy. And this is where the fun begins.
We're going to rapid fire through his Crusades until we get to the 13th one, the one that actually matters?
No, because there's still a little bit more stuff he has to get through, because he truly, after the Heresy, he hung it up. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm outie. I don't want anything to do with this.
He went to go retreat to the mountains, and that was it.
In the warp, yeah. Until he got a call that Dad's body's been stolen.
Did they keep it somewhere?
I mean, yeah. It's their father, you know? They're gonna. Which wouldn't be a problem if it's like treason or something, but the Emperor's children stole it.
What are they gonna do to that?
He didn't want to know. He immediately took command and went to the flesh market, which is where they were keeping this. And he found a bunch of half-baked, disfigured clones of Primarchs, which he cut through left, right, and center, until he finally found a clone of Horus that they used his body for. And it's not... We need to do a video on what exactly a Primarch is, because it's hotly contested. But I'm trying to think of how to explain this. It was missing Horus's it factor, for lack of a better term. Without getting into all the weird stuff that makes a Primarch, without getting into all the, like, maybe they're hosting weird warp minor deep. Like, there's so much. It was effectively missing that pizzazz that made Horus.
He lost his mojo.
Yes, and Clone Horus doesn't have it. The only clone that has ever had it was, like, the perfect clone of Fulgrim, which was immediately thrown into, like, the narrative freezer that is Trajan's library. So, but this one is fully missing it, and is therefore not as strong as a real Horus. Not even close. Which is why Abaddon is able to kill him without any problems at all, using Horus's own talons. You know the ones from the trailer?
Yeah.
That he absolutely eviscerates a Space Marine with?
Yeah, I know those ones.
Yep, that happens to him technically, but after he's cloned. And this is where we get the Abaddon we know and love.
The Abaddon doing this pose.
Well, no, it's just this is when he gets his. But do you see what I mean? Where he's aesthetically just kind of.
He's evil, yeah. No, I can see it.
I do like the smoky top knot.
The top knot's cool, but he's literally hitting a Frieza pose.
If it's not broke, don't fix it. My problem isn't the Frieza pose. My problem is the lack of, like, hard direction. It feels like, other than general villainy.
No, it does look like evil.
Yeah. This really brought him back into the. It's the whole, like, one last job thing that brought him back into the game, and he's now fully taken control of the Black Legion, as they're called, and is trying to unite chaos, which again, boulder up rock.
Again, it's in the name. You cannot order chaos.
Yeah.
Why are you trying?
Somebody has to. Somebody has to, because the Traitor Legions just keep splintering.
You would need so many. You would need so many, like, leashes and so many collars, and one of those chaos divisions might enjoy that a little bit too much. I don't know what he's thinking he's going to do with them.
Think about it from his perspective. Most of the Traitor Primarchs are just off doing their own thing. The Loyalists are in lockstep and mad. Like, we have to get united. Listen, they can't come here for now. For now.
But when they do, they will be united, and we are all just splintered.
Yeah.
Fragmented.
Yes. And so he has to try and do the impossible, which leads to usually violent overcorrection.
What do you mean violent overcorrection?
Because it's really hard to keep chaos orderly.
It is chaos.
If you so much as look at him wrong, you'll get obliterated. You will
see.
get turned into a fine red mist. He's very, very, very brutal.
So he's ordering chaos through intimidation.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he will regularly just impale people. We've covered some of the stuff he does. He's vicious. You do not want to be caught by him. You do not want to backstab him. It's very... Abaddon will leave his ship, and if he doesn't come back within 2 business days, it's anarchy.
I imagine that's fun for him to come back to.
No, it's not. He'd much rather just have a regular army, please.
Please?
Listens to orders.
I said just sit in the corner and do nothing, and you couldn't do that.
Yeah, no. And this is another... Hold on.
Nice. Is it juicy?
No.
No.
You're also very good. Like on fundamental biblical level.
Is it juicy?
Ready?
Is it sweet?
Ready?
Yes.
Yeah. It's also now that we get to see a lot more of again, more of his likable traits, because he doesn't just walk in and say, "You will do what I say or else," but he actually tries to curry favor with the various demon primarchs and chaos gods. Like, he fights Khorne demons to please Angron.
Okay, kind of cool.
He has no reason to do this. He just does this so that
Angron will respect him just a little bit more.
Yeah. He goes to Fulgrim and gives him a unblemished psyker to do whatever the hell you want to do with.
Icky.
Yep. He gives Tzeentch.
I was gonna guess he just put cat ears on or something.
I hope I hate that. I hate that so much. He constantly feeds Tzeentch and the Thousand Sons weird magical MacGuffins that no one else really
I found
has.
this weird book. I can't read it, and the text keeps changing. Here you go.
Yeah. He bonded with Lorgar over how much the Ecclesiarchy is just a twisted version of his own ideas. He's even gotten Perturabo to help him.
He acted as a shrink. He acted as a shrink to Lorgar.
Just like, yeah, dude, vent at me. They suck, don't they? Yeah. Yeah. The only reason Abaddon gets away with what Abaddon gets away with is because, and this is what I need more of. I need more of Abaddon going off to do stuff to keep the constant favor. Like, I need him going, haven't fought anything too long. Take a detour. I need to go fight an orc. You know, like this is when it's fun. I love seeing the little bit of Horus in him, where he's managing this like political game, because there is politics to chaos. You know, it is. I cannot make it seem like I am helping any one chaos god. I must use all of their powers in a fair and equal amount. I can never I can't. I need more of just a stressed Abaddon trying desperately to manage getting backing from 4 different people who all hate each other.
Trying to strike the impossible deal.
That is when Abaddon, in my opinion, is the most fun.
Yeah.
I need to see more of the gods screwing him over and him having to just
figure it out.
We were so close. Like Abaddon, because the problem with Abaddon is he never, because of the nature of 40k, if you're the big bad of 40k can't end. So he's constantly losing. You know? It feels like a Saturday morning cartoon.
He's the villain of the week.
No, it's like the Joker keeps showing up in The Brave and the Bold every single week.
Yeah.
He's never gonna win. But if you have him getting screwed over by his own faction, well,
it's a very easy way to make him lose.
He's still competent. He's still so very competent.
But he keeps getting, like, his foundation keeps breaking from under him.
His foundation keeps getting kicked clean out. And this does happen sometimes. But the Black Legion is very fun. They do still keep a little bit of who they are, and so their pauldrons are painted with their individual chaos god. He's got his Khorne division. The Khorne division is called the Hounds of Abaddon. The Slaaneshi, the ones who worship Slaanesh are called the Children of Torment. The sorcerers are called the Sons of the Cyclops, and then the Bringers of Decay. You can guess who they worship.
I can guess.
Yeah. And
the Icky Marines.
Look, you can see the little red.
Oh my god.
Khorne.
It is Khorne.
Right?
Isn't there a little, hold on, is that the logo? No, it is not. That's the Chaos Undivided logo.
This is Chaos. It's just general. And this is what I need more of. This is the stuff that makes Chaos Undivided fun to me. He has been using this massive legion to go on 13 Black Crusades.
Yes.
Now, I don't have to, but it must be said that the Crusades were always hinted at doing something. Like, I don't fall into the camp where I think they were, like, a lot of people think they were a hard retcon, because what would happen is Crusade 1, fail. Crusade 2, fail. Crusade 3, fail. The
13th was like a cope response to him failing the first 12.
Exactly. But there were always little hints here and there of, oh, he managed to get that, or, oh, he did that, or, oh, he's managing that.
Something was going on.
Something was always happening in the background. Now, to be fair, I don't think they knew what it was themselves as they were writing it. But I do know something was happening. So it does feel fair at the end of it all.
They were grabbing ingredients for a dish they didn't know how to make.
Yes. And then also the main problem with the 12 Crusades here is, sure, Horus knocked it out in one. Horus also had a competent army. Like, Horus didn't just have Horus, but he had a good half of his brothers turned traitor. And it's not incompetent. Perturabo's very competent and was helping very much so. You know, Horus may have lost it there towards the end, but he had a much better hand than whatever the hell Abaddon has to duct tape together.
Abaddon's dealing with the scraps, the table scraps.
And it's genuinely, it's almost impossible. For every win Abaddon has, he has to yank his hair out because behind him he just got a loss from his own
Is that
team.
why he has the top knot? He's yanked always, every other strand of hair out?
No, he's always had that.
Oh, that's a shame.
But he did get one win, finally, even though it was... I won't describe it as Pyrrhic, but it does come off as a bit of a tantrum. Where he lost on the ground and decided, I'll throw this Blackstone fortress at the ground.
Ah, that one.
Yes, which is how Cadia fell, and then everything just went to hell.
He literally threw his controller at the ground.
And do you see what I mean? Where if you want him to be likable, don't have him have to do that. Just have him win.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like, just have him win. Stop introducing characters who are named and feeding them into the Abaddon meat grinder. Please. Please. Just stop. Okay?
Give him something reasonable and something we know to fight, because he's competent enough to do that. Probably, maybe. I don't know.
Anyway, cracking the galaxy in half hasn't been enough for him. He's not just been sitting twiddling his thumbs. He's actually gone out and started a couple of new wars, including one known as the War of Nightmares, which is really cool and genuinely one of the more important things happening, because it's the one stable way to cross that crack in the galaxy. And so obviously Abaddon wants that held down pretty aggressively. And obviously the Imperium needs that. We really need that.
Controlling the Suez Canal or the Panama Canal would definitely be a nice position to have.
Yeah. Unfortunately, before he could do any real damage to the Ultramarines and their father, the biggest Ultramarine arrived. Well, the second biggest Ultramarine arrived, and so did the Eldar, and he had to make an undignified retreat.
Because there's not much you can do about it.
Which is, by the way, this is the time where he gets back to his ship and discovers it's already fallen to chaos.
Wow, what a wonderful time to have that happen.
Right?
I just took a fat L and now I've come back to this.
Yep.
You couldn't keep yourselves organized for 2 days.
Mm-hmm. It's thankfully that war is still going on, even though he's left the battlefield, but it's not. He's also involved in the Arcs of Omen, which is another one of those things where we're assembling something.
Something's happening.
Yes, and they've introduced a very cool new chaos deity named Vashtor.
He's the weird mechanical one, right?
Yes, he is the warp entity of his curiosity and scientific progress. It's very cool.
I assume the Dark Mechanicus are just fiending over this guy.
Yeah, he's the guy who helps with demon engines. I also love it because he's a big believer in legalese. And so every time you have to ask him for help, you have to make sure you read the terms and conditions.
Ah, I see. He's a genie.
Yeah.
He's the mechanical genie.
It's Vashtor's reason that Abaddon is one of the few living humans who knows about the war in heaven.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Abaddon knows about that?
Yep. Because Vashtor taught him about it.
Why?
Because it was during this time period that this ancient and powerful thing known as the weapon, not a joke, was created.
Ah, the MacGuffin.
Yes, and he tells Downton Abbey that if he can find the weapon,
the MacGuffin,
it can destroy the Imperium.
Whoa, the MacGuffin.
Yes. And so this is kind of the one thing that he's going after now.
The MacGuffin.
Yes. The new MacGuffin.
The new McDonald's Macbeth.
Yeah. And that's kind of the one thing that's consumed him. He's just on never-ending fetch quests. And I hope they lead into it because I find it so interesting.
They should have an Abaddon-style video game where it's just you going on fetch quests and then coming back to...
First of all, what a fun game that would be. Because then you could have various Primarchs be in it and just beat the brakes off of him. Give me a Soulsborne where the lion appears out of a forest and is the most merciless boss you've ever seen.
No, I want I want an Abaddon centered game that's just a Banjo-Kazooie style collectathon.
No, I would want a collectathon and then randomly out of nowhere, again,
You would see a Dark Souls health bar and the lion comes out of nowhere.
The lion appears and you suddenly are playing a different, much harder game. I need him to be Melania. I ask for so little.
Don't let me solo her. I will not win.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Just get good. It's not that hard.
I was decent at Dark Souls 3.
It took so many tries.
I haven't finished Elden Ring. I need to. It's on my list of games to finish.
Yeah, we have to. But it's either really keeping him on these fetch quests so that he stays interesting, or alternatively, I will also accept winding him back a bit. I would genuinely argue 40k doesn't need the big bad.
It has so many bads.
It's got several. Wind down his importance and explore more about his feelings and what motivates him, and the intricacies and politics of keeping chaos undivided.
Because that seems to be like that is a very good transition of like Horus's weird charisma and politic game that he would play, and now Horus 2.0 now needing to play that with, of all things, chaos. Yeah. It's a really interesting concept in and of itself. Why are we just having him throw himself against walls? It's the same. You can tell he's related to the same guy who showed up and faked an Australian accent to fit in, and is now beating people up to fit in with the Khorne group. I love it so much. Or you can even handle how he deals with avoiding chaos, corruption. Because, I mean, hold on. If you look closely at the art, he does look kind of chaos corrupted. Like, it's kind of... It shows up in his armor, and like there's some like weird stuff going on in his skin.
Yeah, I have to mention it at this point.
He's been so tangentially aware of or around these things. They have to affect him by at least a little bit.
It's said that he's physically free of corruption, but he does use chaos a lot. And he does get direct blessings from the various gods. And he does do stuff that fits their ends. So there's a lot of people who argue that he's not really free.
Even if he's not fully corrupted, there's probably still at least a little bit of something going on. Exploring that more is something I would also really like to see. Because, again, Abaddon's not boring. He's just like, every time you ask someone about him, he'll be billed as boring. Like, because the big things that have been written about him or are being done with him are he does a big crusade, and then he's written better than that. But that's just what it gets distilled down. No, that's what I mean. Yeah, and so you have very many fun. Like you have a man who has to deal with just living on the razor's edge of how do I use this power without falling to it? How do I use this power without falling to it? How do I use this power without falling to it? And looking in the mirror one day and going, that lump wasn't there before. That's concerning. And then you have the avenue of the man trying to do the impossible, keep chaos. Ordering chaos. Yeah. Or the infinite fetch quest device. I'm okay with either avenue. I'm okay with a mix of all three. It's fun. I like to see strong characters struggle. So I love once again a Banjo-Kazooie style game featuring and starring Abaddon the Despoiler.
But we'll see what happens. They clearly want to keep bringing Primarchs back, which means Chaos ones are going to be popping up soon. They may dethrone Abaddon's the current importance to the setting. Unfortunately, maybe it would be good for him.
Giving him some time to sit on his laurels and get a little bit self-reflective.
I think so.
Maybe he has to be getting up there in age nowadays.
10,000 years. Yeah, 10,000 years. He's getting up there. But what do you think of Abaddon?
I think it's a very cool concept. I would love to see him. I would love to see him do more of that introspective, like, what am I doing anymore? Like, a lot of people seem to bill him as Horus 2.0, and I would love to see what his thoughts are on that. Like, do I live in my dad's shadow, or what's going on?
That could be fun.
I think that would be a really fun thing to do with him, especially with how much he's trying to do in his father's image, especially with, like you were saying, the trying to organize chaos, play the same politic game that Horus did. Oh, and while also being the great war master with kind of a crappy army to war with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like him. You have shown me so much more than just the armless figurine that I've seen so many images of.
Precisely. He's perfect. He's fantastic. And there's a reason he's going to be going under my spoiler when I get a car that has one.
No, what you have to do is you have to delete the spoiler on your car, despoiler the car, and then replace it with Abaddon.
Thank you so much for watching this episode, as always. And thank you for being here.